Hi everyone, welcome to another Thrift Witch video. Today I have a selection of items that I picked up at another recent trip to the thrift store. In this haul there's just a few items, a couple interesting ones that I thought I would share and let you know what we're going to have for sale coming up in our booth at the Perth Gore Street Antique Market or online at thriftwitch.ca. The first item is this lovely trinket bowl with maple leaves. It's a bit unusual in that the lid fits really specifically between the two small handles. This piece is Noritake, made in Japan. Again, I don't know my Japan ceramic marks or my Noritake marks very well yet to know exactly when this was created with the large M, but I could look that up. A nice green color on this little piece with gold decoration, no chips or cracks, and no damage. Next is an Asian figurine with a fan. It is a planter, so you could put something in the back, and this is marked Japan. I tried to look for similar items to this online to see comparables. I wasn't able to find this exact figure, so I really am not sure of its age or provenance. There is a hole here above his arm, which indicates to me maybe the intent was to show him holding something or something displayed above his arm. Because of the way his hand is positioned, I don't think it was as if he was holding a staff or another sort of item. Oh. Has some shenanigans going on in the background. Hello Eugene, hello Zoe. So if you hear the sound of like jingling bells in the background of my videos, that's because all of the cats wear collars and they do have bells or metal on them. It helps keep track of where they are in the house. When I'm not sure where they are, because if you have cats, you must know that they are really good at hiding sometimes. So if you hear that noise, that's just them. Hi Zoe, that's just them moving around. Alright, on to the next item. This piece is a print. I really like the look of this print. It's called U2 and it's by Thomas Joseph. He is an Irish artist. I thought this, even though this is not, of course, vintage or antique, I really like the look of this and I thought it would be a really nice addition to the booth, and I'm sure there's going to be someone who will come along and will think it's great. It's in excellent condition, well framed, a nice matted print. Here is a glass candy container. So originally this horse and cart, the cart would have come with candy in it, and then there would have been a cardboard or paper lid. It's very rare to find them complete with candy in the lid, of course, because just like now, kids loved candy when these were made, and so nobody really kept them with the candy in them. This is quite a large size for a glass candy container, and it's in excellent shape with no damage. This little glass basket here, I'm going to hang on to this for Easter and maybe use it to do a bit of a display with some, of that raffia or pink colorful basket filler and maybe some chocolate eggs or something like that. I'm not sure that this is a super vintage piece, but I really like the shape of it and thought that it would be a great piece to have out at Easter. Next is a nice find in the purse racks. So I think I told you before, I do look at the purses. I don't really like looking at the purses. I find it a bit tedious and boring. So when I am looking at the purses, I'm looking for vintage materials. So the reason that when I spotted this, that I thought it could be vintage, because of course, with the, with kids going to prom and with young women dressing up for proms and formals, a lot of companies are producing new bags that kind of look vintage. So there's a few clues and hints to help you know if something really is vintage. So in this case, the beads are glass beads. So the purse has quite a little bit of weight, and you can actually sort of hear the glass beads I looked to make sure on the outside that there isn't damage, or if there is a little bit of damage, is it something that can be easily repaired? And what I mean by that is there is a little piece of the beading here that's come loose. However, it's complete, so I can just repin that, well, sew it back down. The next thing is to look at the construction materials. So this purse does have a metal, I guess, clasp and, you know, the item that makes the form of the purse. And inside it is silk lined, or it might be synthetic, but I think it actually might be silk. And then the label. So this one says Duval, styled by Duval, made in Hong Kong. Most of the reproduction modern purses are made in China. And I also recognize that Duval and made in Hong Kong is a vintage brand that was made in the 60s or maybe 70s. So this little purse does have some good age. Has a really nice detail on the clasp here with the little rhinestones. And a nice metal handle. So just a really nice vintage piece that we'll be offering for sale. Next is a bag, a set of bag items. All of these items were in one bag together. I wanted the bag for the little girl figurine. So she is ceramic. She is marked Esther Fine China Reg Japan. So she's made in Japan. So she has, I think, a little bit of vintage age. She has this applied redhead hair, which I just think is delightful. She has a little bit of damage on her face where you can see the underlying green glaze paint coming through. But like, just look at her, how pleased she is with herself. So this was the reason that I wanted the bag. Also in the bag was a cowboy boot pincushion, a baby stroller ring box. I cannot imagine any circumstances in which I would be wanting to be presented with a baby carriage ring box. But you know, to each their own. It isn't super vintage. I think you could buy these right now online, but cute, I guess, or creepy. And then this little box with Lily of the Valley on the top, which might have a little bit of age. But, you know, essentially wanting the little doll figurine, these items were sort of just throw-ins that were extra and can, you know, be sold for a couple dollars each. I've been looking for some vintage needlework for the booth. I think they make really nice display pieces. So I found this portrait of a young woman reading. The needle craft is done quite finely, and the frame is in excellent condition. So I think I paid $7 for this. The amount of work and effort that goes into needlework, and then to see these pieces and the prices that they're offered for, you know, it'd be wonderful if someone wanted to give it a new home, but in the meantime, I can use it as a decorative piece in the booth. The next thing I've been looking for is some, again, sort of more as a decorative piece for the booth, or, you know, interesting items to have in the booth that aren't necessarily hugely valuable. And that's albums or LPs. So this album is a Disney double feature, Walt Disney's Dog Songs. So featuring Incredible Journey on this side, as well as this side. And I do at least check to see if the album is in reasonably good condition. Of course, a lot of albums are split, right? Just the records moving around inside them can break them. I did check to make sure the albums were actually included and in reasonably good shape without a lot of scratches. You know, I think I paid $2 for this. It's really more something as like to draw people into the booth as opposed to something that's going to be hugely valuable. And I just enjoy the cover art. And so I have a few more albums coming up in another haul video that I'll show you. Again, we're not necessarily hugely valuable, but really sort of little interest pieces to have. Next up is this lovely hand-painted vintage tray. This is of considerable size. I'm not going to pick it up right now. It's in reasonably good condition. A little bit of rust on one of the flowers. I have to say that actually where it rusted doesn't look terrible. It almost looks like the center of the flower is a different color than the white. This tray, this tray is Nashco Products, New York, hand painted. This is the kind of thing that someone will purchase to display on their ottoman, or even to use as a serving piece. I think it's really nice. You do see them. You don't often see them in this size or in this good a condition. Frankly, that they do scratch, they do get rusty or damaged, but I think it's in overall, I would call that fair to good condition with the lovely hand painted flowers. And the last item I picked up at the thrift store, not something that is actually old, but it's this little knick-knack shelf. And the reason I picked it up is that, when people come into the booth and they buy little items like that little lady, they do need places to display them. And this little rack here cost me $5, and I think I'll ask $10 for it. So definitely something somebody can use for if they're like me and they like all of these little trinkets to display. So that's it. That's the sum of the haul for today. Nothing too terribly exciting. I have a couple more haul videos coming up once I get things unpacked. A few neat and interesting things that we picked up along the way. And I think you heard the cats running around in the background, but everybody seems to be out of frame right now. So I think we'll just say goodbye today by saying goodbye to this little redhead. Thanks again for watching the Thrift Witch channel. I really appreciate it. Please do drop me a comment. Hit that like button if you don't mind. And thanks. Bye.